When a job seeker lands on your Indeed ad, you have exactly 8 seconds to convince them not to hit the back button. 8 seconds. And in those precious 8 seconds, 90% of employers are wasting time talking about themselves, their requirements, their qualifications, instead of answering the one question that actually matters to the candidate. Think about this for a second. Indeed is fundamentally different from your career site. When somebody visits your career site, they're actively researching your company. They want to know about your culture and your values and your benefits. And well, they're going to spend a bunch of time digging around there. But when somebody finds you on Indeed, they're searching for job title or they clicked on a link from an email. They have no idea who you are. And they have 50 other postings they can click on in the next 30 seconds that are just like it. So let me ask you a real simple question. Does your Indeed job ad make a compelling case in those first 8 seconds for why someone should want to stop their search and read more? I bet the answer is no. And I'll tell you why. Most companies are taking the same job description that they use everywhere else and that they've always been using and just dumping it onto Indeed. The same boring list of requirements, the same generic company description, the same competitive salary and benefits line that tells candidates absolutely nothing. And this is the problem. Here's something that might shock you. The average Indeed user never visits your career site. They make their entire decision about whether to apply based solely on your job posting. That posting isn't a preview, it's not a summary, it's the entire sales pitch. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was growing Applicant Pro, we were posting the same job ads everywhere. We were copying our competitors' ads, making a few changes, and full sending it. But when we started tracking where our applicants came from and how they behaved, we noticed something pretty interesting. Our career site visitors were spending a ton of time on our site, checking multiple pages. And Indeed visitors, well, they just saw that little bit of snippet, and our conversion rate was much lower. We needed to really drill in on that job posting and figure out how to get them to apply. This completely changed our approach. We realized we needed different content for different sources, and nowhere was this more important than Indeed. And the same goes for ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn. So, what does an effective Indeed job ad look like? Let me walk you through it. First, the opening paragraph. It has got to grab attention immediately. Forget company information, forget duties, start with a question, a bold statement, or a compelling reason why this opportunity is different. For instance, instead of ABC company is looking for a customer service rep with 2 years of experience, try this. Tired of call centers where you're treated like a robot instead of a person? Our support team members have flexible schedules, zero call monitoring, and are actually rewarded for spending more time with customers who need it. See the difference? The first opening is about you. The second opening is about them and what they're probably tired of in their current job. Next, you need to structure the entire job ad around the candidate's decision-making process, not your hiring checklist. This means organizing information in an order that the candidates actually care about. Number one, why is this a great place to work? Culture, environment, management, not your About Us page from your website. Number two, what would my day-to-day experience be like? Job duties framed as experiences. What would make me successful? Number three, required skills and attributes. Number four, what's in it for me? Salary, benefits, growth opportunities, perks, etc. And number five, how do I take the next step and what will that look like? Notice the traditional job description doesn't include any of this information. Another critical element for Indeed specifically, you need to qualify and disqualify candidates directly in your ad. Indeed makes it so easy to apply, and AI is now being used even more, that you'll get flooded with unqualified candidates if you don't explicitly state who should not apply and ask corresponding job questions. For example, this position is not a good fit if you need consistent 9 to 5 schedule, prefer detailed instructions for every task, or don't enjoy direct customer interaction. This kind of statement does two things. It reduces unqualified applicants and it reinforces the kind of environment you actually have. But you should follow it with screening questions to rank and grade those candidates. You should also be exceptionally clear about compensation on Indeed. Vague statements like competitive salary are actually working against you here. Indeed job seekers are all constantly comparing multiple different job ads against each other. And the ones that actually display the compensation tend to win. At the very least, put in a range. Finally, your call to action matters. Instead of just ending it at the end of your job description, you should tell them what the next steps look like. Especially for high-level positions, you might want to start with a conversation rather than a formal long application. And if that's the case, your call to action might be start the conversation by answering a few short questions as part of this Indeed apply process. The application will come later. This small change can dramatically affect the quality of people in your applicant pool. Now, let me ask you this. When's the last time you actually applied to one of your own jobs through Indeed? Have you experienced your own candidate process as if you are the candidate? If you're using Indeed Apply, then it's probably super easy to apply, and you need to make sure you have good job questions to filter out the hordes of applicants you're going to get. But if the button kicks you over to your career site, then you're going to have to dig in deeper. After you click apply, the experience they have is just as important as the job ad yourself. Is your application process mobile friendly? How many screens do they have to click through? How many fields are they required to fill out? If you make them fill out a long form application, you're going to lose people. And for every field that you add to your application form, you will lose qualified candidates. You'll be left with the desperate ones. Specifically from Indeed, that completion rate drops by 50% if your process takes more than 4 minutes. So let's put all of this together. To create an effective Indeed job seeker journey, you need to, number one, craft a job ad that specifically is for Indeed with attention grabbing opening. Number two, structure information in order that applicants care about that will get them and guide them through the journey of reading it. Number three, be explicit about who should and shouldn't apply. Number four, be transparent about compensation. Number five, use a compelling and specific call to action. And number six, make sure your application process is ridiculously easy. I've seen companies double and triple their qualified applicant flow by making just these changes without spending any additional money. So here's my challenge to you. Take your most important open position, rewrite the Indeed posting using this framework, and test it out against your standard post for 2 weeks. Compare the results. I guarantee you'll not only get more applicants, but you'll get better applicants. Because when you actually take the time to walk the process in the job seeker's shoes, to understand their journey, you'll see that you're able to make really easy changes that have massively powerful results.